out in the water, come jump right in, 'cause we going farther than we ever been. I'm out in the water, come jump right in, we going farther than we ever been.
Boom. Welcome back. Ocean Waves episode 56. 56 is a special number for sure for us. Because 4 years ago during, right before COVID, at the end of 2019 to the beginning of 2020, and throughout halfway through 2020, Jason and I had spent a lot of time making music. And we put together a collection, which you can go stream now. It's called the C Collection. But it's it was all the songs that we made. We put out 4 projects in the same day. And then the Tide was the crown jewel of them, of all the songs and everything that we were working for and Jason was really working for and what he was looking for. And he found that and we got that and we put out the Tide, I think a month later. And yeah. But together the C Collection is 56 songs. And then a month after that we made California Light the Sky. But Ocean Waves episode 56, for those of you who are returning, thank you very much for coming back and watching. Those of you popping in for the first time, appreciate you joining in on the conversation. And for those of you who come in and out, cool, I'm glad to have you back. But for those of you who have been watching each one or every week, probably wondering why there wasn't a podcast for over a month now, I guess. I think we're 5 behind. I could give excuses and stuff, but I think the most real answer is that I just simply didn't do it. And it's because I didn't do it, and then it just didn't happen, and I was just okay. I realized it just kind of all spiraled where I think a good metaphor or a good analogy between two is going to the gym. It's probably with a lot of things that you start or things that you do that are time consuming stuff, but going to the gym, when you're in the grind of the gym and you're doing it and you're working out and you're in that flow, it's you're doing it, so it becomes your routine and blah, blah, blah. But then when you stop, turn that down a little bit just in case I come closer. Sorry for the pop for anyone. When you stop, though, you get to this point where when you're going to go back, you're it's hard to go back because you know what you're going to put yourself through when you do it. So it's unfortunately for me, as the weeks stack up, there's more to catch up on. So, and even in the gym, the longer you stay away, there's more work you have to do to get back to where you were or to get back to where you want to be, right? And then, but then when you do it, it's you gotta go. If you have the gym at your house, cool. But if you don't, you gotta go. You gotta pay for the membership first. But you probably have been paying the whole time. Probably just didn't go, right? But you're paying for it, then you gotta go there. Gotta make sure you have the right attire. Then you gotta warm up. Then you gotta do your workout, which is putting your body through whatever. Then you gotta, shower and blah, blah, blah. And it's going to take however long you work out and whatever. And that's a chunk of your day. But then you might have a whole bunch of other stuff going on too, And then that stuff might seem more important at the time. And boom, boom, boom. Next thing you know, you're not in the gym. And then it's harder to get back in. So same thing for this. It's I got to set it up, which takes, however long, if I'm doing it fast or quick or whatever. But it takes some time, doing the podcast. Then breaking everything down and then editing it and then bouncing it and then uploading it and then making sure everything's all right and then sending it out, So it's a process that's going to take like a decent amount of hours to do. It's going to take however long the podcast goes. It's going to take probably like 2 hours to edit. Just the whole process of putting the stuff on the computer and all that stuff, right? Edit, bounce it, and then it takes a couple hours to bounce, and then it takes a couple hours to upload. Actually, it takes a little bit less to bounce now, but it still takes like a decent amount of time to upload to YouTube, So it's time consuming. So plain and simple, didn't do it, but there's reasons, obviously, not excuses, reasons. So in the last one, I think 55, and we had comments on 54. Shout out to you guys. One comment was just saying great job and they're liking it, and that they started at 55, they're gonna go backwards. That was cool. Another one, Symphonic Squirrel, appreciate you, just giving good energy, good vibes, saying doing well, and just keep trying to be the best person you can be and treat others with respect and treat them well, and so some great comments. But episode 55, so what happened was I was on this streak where I was doing them Thursday night after work, and then this is my thing. I go to work, get home, watch the end of the Thursday night game, do the podcast, edited it, bounce it, go to bed, wake up, bounce it, wait for it to bounce, and then make sure I stay awake enough to, once it's bounced, to upload it. Then I wake up before work, which is at 10 a.m. At this point, it's like 4 or 5 a.m. Wake up for work earlier than normal. Go to the computer, make sure everything's good, send it for noon, right? And then it was on Friday. So it's like I'm doing this. So, and then I work all day Friday, and then I wake up, and then some Saturdays I worked all day Saturday too, or maybe half a day or whatever. But, so it's just putting myself in this stretch where it was like not the best for me. And also, Fridays is probably like one of the worst days to put out a podcast, because that's the days, like the Fridays, like the weekend, people are, I guess not as much now, like people go out, but like outside, right? But people go out, they go to the bars, they make plans, they do this, have whatever, So sitting down and having like a long form conversation, or, listening to one, it's like not always in people's agendas. But during the week, people drive to work, people are at work, people are chilling, maybe you're watching the kids, blah, 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 stuff like that, where it's easier to be in a place to, one, receive the information, or two, like process it and have your own thoughts, and then maybe you comment back or whatever, or take it in your own life, or disagree with something, agree with whatever, But it's easier during the week. It's more like the weekend is like, feels like there's so much going on. There's always so much going on in the world, but during the weekdays, a lot of people have like their routines where, maybe the kids have school, you have your work schedule, maybe you got sports things to do, blah, 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 part of a group, whatever you might be doing, where it's like taking your time, like these are things you like to do, or these things you're doing, but they're not, but it's like, you got to go to work. So it's like, and then you got to have dinner, and you need sleep and rest and relax. So it's easier. It's more like a relaxed time between the hours of like 6 p.m. and midnight, right? Versus Friday, Saturday, where that might be you might relax during the day, and then you go, spend all your energy at night. So Fridays just wasn't the day, like it just doesn't get as many views, and usually, and like it usually rounds out to 20, 24, 30 here and there. So shout out to everyone who continuously watches, and, I really appreciate you guys. And if we lost some people in the last month, then that's what it is. But basically on the 55, I was like, okay, I'm not going to do it on Thursday. I'm going to make sure I, get it to a point. I'm just going to make sure I do it early. Like, let me get back to Wednesday at noon, right? That was the goal. And I was literally 2 days off, which is crazy to think now, because now I'm five podcasts off the line, right? And it's like all I had to do was just do it a couple of days early. But for me, it's like if we go through this whole year, the year started with me catching up from when the podcast took its first like shift, where it was like, this is what, if you go look at Ocean Waves in the beginning, to what it is now, the beginning was a different energy. Not energy, I guess so, yeah, energy. It was just a different, like, perspective of where we were going with it. And then it took the first shift, and it's taken a couple. But for me now, it's like knowing, and that's why I was like, I don't want to let it stack up because I know the work to get back. But I let it. But for me, it was like, that's how my year started. I did that. And then right when I was done that, right when I got, like, did a bunch in a row, edited them all, did a gauntlet of, got back on track, I instantly, it was like February or, maybe right before March, and I was like, and in between I had been working on music, but, and then certain things happened and it propelled me to shift the music I was making, which ended up being Navigator. But what I'll probably do is, I don't want to give too much, but there's possibly a Navigator 2. So if you like Navigator 1, awesome. If you were looking for something else, maybe you'll find a Navigator 2. So, but I made that my mission to put it out on my birthday, and I did that, So, but that's May, end of May. So it's like literally like going from putting all this like pressure and energy towards this, right? For 3 months, grinding, 2 months, grinding. Like, my mind is always thinking about it because you're always like, I'm like, you're catching up. Like, you're catching up. So, and it's not to anyone else. And that's the thing. It's not like, oh, I'm so far behind other people. It's like, no, if I've ran this race before and I'm running it again, like I can be doing, like, I can make, my time can be better. Not that I want to get to the finish line faster, but I can make it through these things, but I can be better for me, right? I can whatever time I put up, I can do better than that perspective. So it's like, I know I can. I've done it before. So, I put that pressure on myself the whole time I did the album. I put it out, and then, and all in the meantime, like, and that's the thing. Everyone has things going on. Everyone's got, people got their families to worry about. People got their work to worry about. People are worried about the selection. People are worried about the entertainment industry, all the news over there. People are worried about health. People are worried about, there's so many things to worry about, and that's what they want you to worry about. But if we take worry out of it, just things you have to go handle, whether it's your family, your job, money, things like that. There's so many things in between everything up to the point of everything to think of what you want to actually be doing. So it's like, okay, if I do want to just be doing the podcast, like, I can't just not do it and then expect for it to be like all of a sudden my livelihood. I got to do it. But there's a point in time where it's like, I've been from January to end of February, March to end of May, I did all that. Boom. Then June hit, and I'm trying to think what we're doing. In between, there's all this other stuff you're going through, me and other people, and, and everyone's trying to figure out what they're doing, what we're doing, what I'm doing. Everyone's trying to figure out where we're going and where we're going as a unit, as mankind, as individuals, right? But there's always that period after you put it out. Jason always says this when you put out, he gets depressed after every time he puts out an album, which is kind of funny. Not funny, but funny, And then, so you get that period, and I was like, okay. But I realized, I was like, okay, for the music, I need to, I just spent all this time making the music. Okay, let me just do some other stuff, And then we were playing Minecraft with our cousins. And the Minecraft kind of fell off a little bit, but the thing about Minecraft is it always comes back. And the next time it comes back, we'll actually probably have more players, I think. So it's like that. So I don't worry about that. But I don't think it was time wasted, Because there's little things like just hanging out, playing video games with your brother, with your family, just trying to have good times. Oh yeah, the wedding was in July. That was a big thing because after that, it was like there's a lot of preparation for that, a lot of time, energy, things like that. There is, I believe there, I believe there's, sorry, I just got a little message on my Mac that distracted me. It was a fancy football message too, so part of it's kind of urgent because it's dealing with the trade, but at the wedding, I was the best man. I did the best man speech, and I made it I treated it as like a comedy set. Like Thursday before, it was on Saturday, Thursday night, I thought of it. I was like, oh shit, that's what I should do. And once I thought that, like between Thursday night after midnight to Saturday afternoon, Saturday morning, I'm still weaving it together. But the jokes just start, like ideas, bang, bang, bang. And I was like, oh shit, like a door just like like a closet that you stuffed all your toys in, and then when you open it, it's like they all fall out. And I'm like picking up, putting the ones that like, why is this one even in here? Or, oh, this is a great one. Oh, I forgot about that one. And then like that, and I was like, oh shit. So I started weaving together the set. And I told my friend, I'll say later, but he's like, that's not a real set. I love the how straight up he is. Like he'll believe it when he sees it type shit. I'm like, all right, bet. But I say this to say that I'm pretty sure that there is video evidence. Oh shit, sorry, of the event or like that moment. So I'm waiting. Hopefully there might be 2-3 different angles. Hopefully I can get all whatever footage, and I just can get. Hopefully the whole set's there. AC just went on. I'm not going to get up and turn it off, so sorry if you hear the little this time. I'll make sure next time I turn it off. That's one of those things when you don't do it, you slip up a little, you forget all the little nuances of like how everything should work, but it's all right. We're going to climb back in here. We're going to be back where we were, better than ever, But I'm hoping that I have those angles so I can put it together and put it out and have this little like set of like my first one. And yeah, after that, I had got to the point where I was like, oh, okay, so now I'm in this place where I'm not. When I first started, this is the thing. When I was younger, I was very much outside person, very much outdoors. Let's play. My favorite thing was to play sports. So like, let's play baseball. Let's play football. Let's play soccer. Let's play kickball. Let's play basketball. Any sport I'm down to play. Okay, we don't want to do a sport. Okay, let's do something else. Let's do, we can play, if it's nighttime, we can play Manhunt, Kick the Can, Ghost. Pretty sure it was something Ghost. I can't remember now. Dang. But yeah, just doing like running around the neighborhood at night or, in the daytime, playing outside, playing different games, cops and robbers. I don't. Everyone always plays that. I feel like a lot of people play that game when they're younger, like whatever, cops and robbers, but stuff like that. We had friends across the street that moved in after we did, but they had 7 kids, so we always played with them, and I always shout out to them. I love y'all. We created so many things, and they still very much, without us, they still would have been creative people and be creating. But together, we also all created different things, little movies, ideas, games, games with Lego. They're a big one. Lego games, Duplo. We played downstairs. Created like a town, and everyone had jobs and stuff. And it was just little, like, always deep down, always so creative. But also, like, I love like physical action, doing things outside, being outside, playing. I just love playing, and I love being around people and everyone playing, having a good time. And I was always the kid that would go after school and knock on everyone's door and be like, "Can you come outside? Can you come outside? Can you come outside? Can you come outside?" And depending on the lineup, when the lineup was everyone come outside, was always the best day. We have the most people, we have the most fun, blah, blah, blah. But then there's always like this person has something to do, this person. So there's always might be one person missing or two, and you're always like, oh, if only they could be here, because then you have this whole group of people. Now, luckily, across the street, seven kids, all different age ranges, to the point where it's like, even if only 4 can play, you still have, between me and Jason, that's 6 people. That's already good. And then if another 1 or 2 kids can play, now you have 8. There's a thing, and we connected the most with them out of everyone else on the street, I would say. 100%. But then it got to the point where now is like, and in school I always like gym, right? I always like going to gym class over art and things like that. But then it gets to the point where like, oh, like, you could be an artist. Like, you might be an artist. Oh, like what does that even mean? Like, I never, like, I can't really draw that well, but is that the only art, right? Then you start thinking, and then Jason was very much like, Jason found his path in the music. I'm doing music. He started doing that, right? And then my first jump in was DJing, because my boy had a DJ board, and then he showed me little things to do, and then I started DJing for, probably like a year or something. And there was nothing against DJing. I don't dislike it, but I was like playing songs like, oh, I want to make the song though. I want to be, it was like, I want to be on the song. And then, that starts growing. And as that started growing, like the DJ thing, it would probably have been beneficial if I just stuck with both. But I was like, okay, I would rather do this. So I started doing that. And then I kind of didn't touch the DJ board for a long time. And I started making music. But it would be, the only time I actually got a song was if Jason made the beat, right? Or if someone else made, I wasn't on the sticks, right? But in between, I was making beats, right? I was starting that process where it's like, at first you have no idea what you're doing, and in a way you're teaching yourself. My brother showed me some things, and he always shows me more as time goes on, like just stuff that he does. I'm like, oh, if I'm watching. And so I'm like, So I'm learning from that. In school, my last like 2 years of school, I started taking music classes. So I did where I learned how to record instruments. I learned how to use Pro Tools. Um, we had like mixing and mastering sessions, uh, and then the next class I did was in Reason, but which is like kind of like an EDM style. Uh, so it's like I've done done some schooling, and I've learned, but also a lot you have to really just do it yourself. You have to apply yourself. You have to learn it, right? So, and just feel it out how what you like. Think about it, there's no really one right way to do music. There people probably have percent there's a lot of wrong ways to do it, but there's no one right way. And the best music is the unique people who do their own thing and create their own like vibrations and stuff like that, right? And a lot of times now in the music, you'll see there'll be like one guy or two guys who create that, but then everyone copies that because that makes money right now, versus like the drive to finding the next one or what's the new thing or what's my own thing. Some people are going to say that's better, some people are going to say this is better, but it's whose perspective are you listening to, Then if you like it, then that's what has the best perspective. If you like the music, especially if you love your own music. If you love your own music, that's the best thing. Where it's like, So now for me with the music, I need to make more like in my arrangement, there's more positive than negative songs, but I've been on this streak of negative sided, I guess, songs where I go negative. I need shit to make me feel great, so that when I listen to it, I start feeling great every day. So that's the goal. But so all that time I was making beats, and then eventually I got to the point where I was able to make a song off a beat that I made, and then that I knew was good. So I was like, oh, shit, And if you're going to compare, and I'm not comparing to anyone else, just for me, I'm like, yo, this is good, cool, And then from there, now it's this growth where it's like, as a group, where do we go? But for me, I'm just trying to always be better and get better. And then, and I also want to make songs that make me feel good, So that's like kind of my direction for the music. And Jason has the plan for the music, for like what we're gonna do. And for now, it's kind of been like a little off-season type vibe. Like the baby came, the wedding happened, blah blah blah. He's still been making music in between. There's still things going on. But for me, it got to the point where I was like, I guess I can relate. I guess people who are like, some artists, they'll like cancel their tour halfway or cancel some shows or whatever because they'll spend too much time out here and not in here. Because you're always moving, and obviously it's a different scale. Because for me, all I'm doing, like for me, I'm making music in fucking upstairs, doing the podcast down here, editing and putting them out, going to work, But that's still a lot, going to work, doing all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. And then also being like this thing where it's like always being prepared, where it's like even if tomorrow a bunch of people knew who I was versus today, like staying on my same progression, like staying on my same growth, like internal growth, growing, being kind and positive and trying to be better for myself and for everyone else. Because for me, I realized that I'm very influential, and the longer I'm here, the better. Probably. So it's real my own best interest and interest of the people I love and the people who love me and everyone else for me to be here and also the best like the best version of me, and not compromise where it's like, you know, where you feel like you're doing it for nothing. But on the flip side, you know, it's taxing to be in this spot where you're like always doing something or always doing like pushing this thing. And it's like, for me, I was like, I just need, looking back on it now, I was like, I just needed a break. I needed a break from, like, I made a couple songs, or I made a couple beats and some hooks or whatever, and I've made a couple verses, but I haven't spit, like, I just wrote them. I didn't put them down on the mic yet. And so those moments for me were like, what I kind of went away from earlier was, in the summer I realized that now, when I started the artist, and when I started becoming an artist, or letting the artist shine within me, I would always just go to music. And now, it's like, I could do a podcast, I can do music, I can write jokes, work on it, because I think the best thing for me comedically would be to, like, attempt to write like a solid 15 minutes, and then a solid 15-minute set, a 10-minute set, a 5-minute set, and a 1-minute set. So 15, 25, 30, 31. So basically half an hour of jokes, and then 1 minute that's like, if you only got 1 minute, what would you say? And that's what, for me, I'm like, in order for me to be taken seriously, I gotta build that. Okay. So I could do that. We could write music videos ideas. We could go shoot a music video, you know. Or we could just, you know, have a conversation about this, about Oceans on Arrival. We could build more infrastructure, whether it's the link tree and stuff like that, because I think that's very much a necessary thing going forward. The link tree, as well as another QR code, like card, and or the phone. Yeah, that was a good idea. And then maybe some more, like, work on, maybe not getting the merchandise, but working on, like, so the next merchandise is really dope. So there's like these things that there's a lot of stuff that I could do. So even right before this, I was like thinking of lyrics, and I was like, should I just go make music? But if I went and made a song, I would be happy to have another song, but I don't think it would. I'm not sure if I would have got all the way, because I know there's other things I want to do today. And if I didn't get a full song in that session, I would be very disappointed. Versus this, now I'm starting. Now I'm back in the mode where I'm on the microphone, speaking my thoughts. Maybe some days I'll have people with me to share theirs and to bounce ideas off. Some days I won't, you know. And Jason has been pushing me to get other people, but at the same time, I'm not gonna beg other people. I don't want to beg people to be on ocean waves. I don't think that's the energy. Like, and I don't want the energy to be like prestigious, where like only, you know, where it's like, but there has to be that middle ground where it's like, as much as I want someone to be sitting there, I want them to be sitting there too. I want them to want to be sitting there too, right? Versus like doing me a favor, you know. And in some cases, it might just be like, oh, like they are doing me a favor, and maybe they don't want to be there at that exact, but like they're happy to, you know what I mean? Different things. But for the most part, I want it just to be like a genuine, like, whoever wants to sit down on these 4 microphones will be there each time, you know? So, and now that I'm 5 behind, you know, I think that if there's any opportunity to do one, I'll do one. Like, I'm always like, I'll do one whenever, right? But for me, I have to make sure that now And that's a part of my thing, like, especially for the one who says he's gonna go and watch all of them from backwards. He's probably gonna hear a lot of me saying, "I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that," which is good because there's things that I'm doing that I prove it. Whether it was the album, whether it was the first time I got back on track. With the last one I did, I was like, okay, I'm gonna make sure we're gonna get it on Wednesdays at noon, blah blah blah, and I never did. And so I got back, and I also maintained, right? I got back and I maintained, but I never really got it locked into Wednesday at noon. And that's because of all the other stuff. And that was where I was testing to her, like, looking back now, I was like, I needed the break because I needed to reassess. I needed to just come in with a new perspective of what I'm doing, right? So now, after the first week, okay, I'm going to get it to Friday. So what happens? The Thursday comes, and I'm back after work watching football, and I was like, here I am again, doing what I said I wasn't going to do. I'm going to do a podcast on a Thursday night, put it out on a Friday, and be like, almost like you turned in the work, but you weren't, like, So then I'm like, okay, well, next week I'll do Tuesday, Thursday. Cool. What happens? In the moments that I'm going to do one, things come up, right? And then what happens? I end up being Thursday night again, but I had missed one. So now even if I do one, now I'm in the exact same spot that I was last week. And the reason I didn't do it last week, I'm going to do it this week. I'm just going to do it this week, but I'm going to be one behind. So I was like, all right, that's fine. I'll do 2 weeks, Tuesday, Thursday. But then I'm going to Maryland. I went to Maryland for the Baltimore Ravens and Washington game, right? So before I leave, I'm like, okay, I need to do some. And then Jason's like, I'll do it. All right, let's do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow the night came, and then something came up, and then we didn't do it. So then I was like, okay, now I'm 3 behind, right? I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm going to Maryland. Like, when I get back, I'll get back Tuesday morning, and I'll do it, and then I'll put it out Wednesday. And then, of course, like, I get back Tuesday. I've been driving for hours. I was tired, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, you know what? So I didn't do it. And now I'm on a streak. Now I'm on 4, right? And then last week, I'm like, all right, 4 behind now. Let's at least just start on Wednesday, right? Let me just get one out. But then last week, Jason ends up joining the realm of of the possibility of another stream of revenue. It's risky, but there's upsides and downsides to it. But right when he jumps in, all of a sudden the stream flows in. So maybe, maybe it was all a good thing, but it took a lot of time in my mind away from other things. So then by the time I did that, then I had to do my work clothes. I had to do laundry, and then the laundry is right here. So if I run that, it's like I can't pod and do laundry. I guess I could move, but the sign's here. So, so yeah. So then it ended up being 5, right? So now I'm like, okay, now I'm 5 behind. What's happening? Like, we gotta do one. Why have I not? Why? So then now I'm thinking about all this stuff, and I realize now, I just needed a break. I needed to go through the things that we're going through. I needed to take a break from being me in the public, and the public isn't even that big right now. Not even like, what, 20 people watch. How many people know the music? People know me at work. People have met me before. You know, it's not the biggest net of people, but what I'm doing is that. So I needed just to be Ryan, you know. So did that. Went back to Maryland. You know, experienced what I experienced, and I really took it. That trip for me was like picking up the pieces of myself that I had left behind there and bringing them back with me. You know, there's a lot of feels like I built so many bridges halfway, so many relationships, and most of them were all unattended or just gone. And there's a couple that we'll have to, like, I hope that it builds more, but it takes both sides to build more. But I love them, and it's dope to know you have a couple friends out there, you know. And then there was 2 people that I didn't see, but that's because that wasn't what the trip, like, one of them didn't work out, and I was just like, okay, since that didn't work out, I'm not gonna go into that area. So, and I was like, because I didn't need to get what I needed to get from those, but I needed to get what I needed to get from the others. So it was like, which I did, in good ways and bad ways. But, you know, the boys in Discord, love them, appreciate them. You know, I seen one of my friends from high school that I didn't expect to see, 2 of them. You know, so it was nice to see them and chop it up and just catch up and see that when I see them, it's like you kind of just pick up where you left off. You know, so for me it was overall good, but there's questions I got answered for myself, and you know, now I'm more content now than I was last month, right? And not like content where I'm gonna stay stationary, but like I can move forward. So that's just kind of where, on certain aspects, the other ones you just gotta kind of lay them to rest, and whatever is meant to be is meant to be. Whatever happens, happens. But, you know, I think that COVID probably affected everyone in different ways. Older people who've been around for a while or have jobs or like couldn't see their grandkids anymore, or, you know, kind of got stopped from their daily routine. You know, people who went to work, who were a little younger, who had kids and worried about their kids, and then they couldn't go out anymore. And then like teenagers who were now they weren't in school, they were online school versus being around kids. And then the younger kids who kind of just watched it all happen, right? And it kind of like used to go to the grocery store and people would be like scared of you and be like, now instead of like a day where you kind of go to the grocery store and maybe it takes an extra 30 minutes because you just have a conversation with someone or, you know, a couple people, and you're like, everyone's happy to be alive or happy to be there. Where it's like now you're avoiding all conversation, contact at all costs to make sure that you're not interacting with the person at all. And that creates, now people are becoming more separated. They're becoming more alone, you know. And then on top of the fact of all the other stuff they're putting through the internet to create division and whatever, you know, it's not good. It's not good for humanity. And I think that where this is kind of like the resolved effects of it, where it's like, you know, you got, even now, the Roku ads are going over, like the little scenery, and there's got COVID-19, find answers and care, PfizerForAll.com. And to me, I'm like, that's crazy that that's still an ad. But, you know, it's still an ad, you know. But people it definitely took a toll on people. People became more separated. So I don't put the fault on things. I don't think on on every individual because of the things that everyone kind of had to go through. But there's certain instances where it's like time will tell, you know. And but as a whole, like if we go look back in history, like we always refer to what you have communities, you have villages, you have tribes, right? You have humans together, surviving, living, growing, right? When a baby's born, it needs someone to nurture it, someone to care for it, someone to love it, for it to grow. You know, you can't just birth it and it survives on its own. So it's like, as humanity, we are together, we are far better than apart. So it's a tough space we're in now. Elections next week. That's another thing I wanted to pull at least one out before the election happens, just to be like before and after. But shit, this is gonna come out tomorrow on fucking Thursday. Because now I am gonna do Tuesday, Thursday, because it's the easiest way to catch up. 2 weeks. So from now was the end of October. So I'll do one this week, and then November. So yeah. So by the time like this middle of December, I should be back to the hope of being able to get it to Wednesday at noon, so that for the start of next year, it's Wednesday at noon, and instead of trying to catch up like I did last year, I'm actually just on pace, and that's just what it is. So that's the goal right now. I think we'll accomplish it. I'm confident we will. Doing this now, I'm feeling good. I'm back in the rhythm. Just like going back to the gym, once you start doing it, you're good to go, man. You know, so I think it was just like knowing that once I start, I'm going to have to keep going because what I'm not going to do is do one and then be gone for like another 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, it's either you're in or you're out, you know? So now I'm back in, and we'll get this out for tomorrow at noon, and then, which is Thursday, and then we'll make sure that Tuesday and Thursday for the next month, we'll have 2 each up until the first week of December, and then the last 3 weeks we should have Wednesday at noon and be smooth sailing from there. Ocean Waves back in action. So for anyone who's back and watching, appreciate you very much. You know, we'll see what happens with the election. I'm not sure. Tough to call what's going to happen. I definitely prefer one way. Think that one way is the best chance to get to a more fair society. Barring that, the next one after that will be 2 candidates, and it'll only be 4 years from now versus 8. So I'll leave it at that. But you know, I'm tired. The ads are terrible. I was just like come out of nowhere, and yeah, dude. It's tough to watch them go back and forth, and it's just so much stuff. So we'll see. I mean, it's funny to watch people ask you if you're voting, and they're like, every vote matters. And then when you ask, well, who are you voting for, and they tell you, it's like people are going to put you in a box if you say who you're going to vote for, right? And I think that everyone should have to reveal, for real. You know, like, I don't necessarily think it's the best. Like, I understand why it's hidden, but I don't think it should be. I think you should rep that shit proudly. That way you can't switch sides if shit goes wrong. Be like, you chose that, you know, if you believe your decision, if your vote truly matters, right? Versus all the ways that it can be manipulated, or in some ways, if it is the WWE, you know, the WWE champion will always be the champion. So we'll see. But, hopefully whatever happens, it works where we go to a better place. We move to a more positive era of hope versus like the direction we're in now in the last 4 years. So I don't know, man. It's tough. We'll see what happens though. We'll see what happens. And every year, nothing super. I mean, I don't know. What do you consider 2 assassination attempts? Is that crazy now? Is that not crazy? Well, it was only in the news for like a month, like a week, a day. Like what's like? I don't really watch the news, but I knew that was in the news, and then it was gone super fast. So I don't know. It's like that's kind of crazy, but it's it's election year. A lot of stuff in the last week. A lot of stuff can still happen. There's still a lot of time left in the year, 2 months. So I'm basically just trying to close out the year so that when I get to that last day and you're counting down the minutes to the next year, that I'm very much pleased and satisfied and happy with my year this year, and taking that energy into moving forward and becoming even better than I was this year to next year. So that's the goal for me. Getting back on track now. I don't think it's gonna be that hard for me. Because now my perspective is like whenever I just feel like doing what I'm doing, and I'll just edit it and put it out whatever the next available date is. So that's what I'll do, and then we'll kind of find the best day. I think through that, we'll find the best day to do one, and make sure it's out every Wednesday at noon. But we'll see what happens with the election, the Diddy stuff. It's calmed down a bit, but obviously it's still a big story. It's tough because it feels like whenever there's a story like that, it always feels like there's something else going on that they don't want you to see, and they're just kind of all the news just puts this attention on this thing, and you kind of miss. So I don't really know what else happened in that time or whatever, but feels like there's probably some other stuff that happened, But life goes on. So no excuse to why we haven't had an Ocean Waves episode in over a month, but for me it was just I had back-to-back where I'm in the same spot, and then things come up, and I really just had to look in the mirror and be like, what are we doing? What are we doing this for? And once I went through that and got that and got to the point, took me till this morning when I woke up, sat outside for a bit and said, you know what? It's time. And I had the lyrics in my mind coming here, but I was like, you know what? No. Like, no matter what, I'll be satisfied at the end of the day if I do this, because at least it'll come out next week. I won't be 6 behind. I'll just be 5. We'll do Tuesday, Thursday. And I was actually going to do it, thinking about doing it, putting out other Wednesday, but I was like, you know what? This probably makes more sense to just start on Thursday, to people who do what, to put in the rhythm, like Thursday, Tuesday, Thursday, Tuesday, Thursday, Tuesday, Thursday, Tuesday, Thursday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Wednesday, Wednesday. Wednesday from the rest of the time. Hopefully that I'm here. So that's what I've been doing, been going through some life stuff and growing, and now I'm like, okay, how do I balance my time? Where do I spend my time? I want to get back in the studio to make more music, because life is better with new music. But this also is a big part of my life, and I need to make sure that this stays in its trajectory, which is upwards, because eventually we're going to be out of this room and in a bigger studio, and there's going to be people who are going to be getting some views, I feel like, and that mentality is never going to change. And in some ways it's like insane, but in the other ways it's like fully confident because what else would I be here to do besides the things that I know I'm supposed to be doing and I do. Other than that, we leave it up to the universe, leave it up to whatever time is supposed to align, and I just gotta be prepared for when that moment comes. I'm ready, and and you don't miss it. So I think that was pretty good, solid, not too long, not too short to start, just to kind of, obviously I brought the little topics about the election and what's been in the news recently and stuff, but leave it for later. We can discuss more ideas. People who made it this far, appreciate you so much. If you want anything to hear about, speak about, whatever, just throw a comment in there. I'll touch on it, whatever topic. Cool with me. Otherwise, I'll just pick thoughts from the space around me, share them, and hopefully it helps in some case, some way. Hopefully you got enjoyment out of this. Hopefully you felt part of the conversation in some way, and maybe we'll have one soon in present time, or as in the same space. But yeah, this is Ocean Waves, episode 56. I'm Indigo Ryan, the Navigator. I appreciate you for watching. We'll be back soon. We'll chop it up with some new topics, new ideas, but this was pretty much my start of the comeback, getting back to where we want to be, and trying to just be honest with myself and with anyone who's going to watch this. So thank you very much. Ocean's on Arrival, all streaming platforms. We got music there, loads of music, new music coming next year, 100%. Come on, let's do something. Right? All right, cool.